Live tweeting is something that many people do to record their experiences at concerts, restaurants, or in one case, an abortion. The Guardian on June 9th, 2016 explains that due to Ireland's strict abortion laws, over 10 Irish women each day journeyed to England seeking the procedure. Irish law not only makes abortion illegal in almost all circumstances, including rape or incest, but also criminalizes the women, subjecting them to jail time and even life imprisonment. The Guardian noted that in a landmark decision this past summer, the UN Committee on Human Rights deemed Ireland's laws to be cruel and inhumane, yet Irish leaders have resisted change. In light of this ruling, two particular women decided to publicize their journey through Twitter. The real-time campaign named Two Women Travel live tweeted pictures and dialogue throughout their trip to England. They gained support and retweets from the National Women's Council of Ireland and late night host James Corden, as well as forcing Ireland's public health spokeswoman, Louise O'Reilly, to respond. Given the controversy this campaign generated and its unique use of real-time communication to explore the women's experiences, we must ask the following research question. How can time be used as a rhetorical strategy to alter audiences' understanding of political issues? To answer, we will turn to Brian Amsden's Dimensions of Temporality in President Obama's Tucson Memorial Address, found in the 2014 Journal of Rhetoric and Public Affairs. We will first outline the key tenets of Amsden's model, then apply them to Two Women Travel before finally drawing some critical implications. On September 24th, 2016, thousands of protesters across the globe gathered to protest Ireland's abortion laws because, as the BBC noted, they have become a source of international outrage. Initially, Amsden outlines the key aspects of temporality in President Obama's speech following the politically driven Tucson shooting of Congresswoman Gabby Gifford. Amsden examines how Obama failed to properly use time to capture his audience. Because of the model's focus on the difference in time between the continuous past and the kairos of the present moment in Obama's speech, it is ideal for our analysis. Amsden outlines three main tenets. First, mythic democratic time. Second, the era of partisan polarization. And third, generic domestic time. First, mythic democratic time. This is an invented time that is theoretically free of fault. It exists in the past and is a continuous sense of time. It is ideological and a time of forward progress in the larger mythology of American democracy. Obama reflects this by speaking of the citizens who were attacked and saying they were fulfilling a central tenet of democracy envisioned by our founders. Amsden asserts that Obama, using the terms "were fulfilling" and speaking of the founding fathers directly, places them in a larger, mythic, ideological time frame. Second, the era of partisan polarization. This is the current time period where the problem addressed by the speech exists. It is the immediate time period that has broken up the progress of mythic democratic time. For Obama, partisanship makes reasonable gun control measures impossible. He characterizes this by using phrases like "at a time," and saying, "We are at a time when we are all too eager to lay the blame." Third, generic domestic time seeks to find commonality between the audience and the universal experience of human life. Obama says, that's what most of us do when we lose someone in our families, asking listeners to use this occasion for empathy and understanding, and to reflect on a time when they lost someone, taking the sense of time away from the present moment. Amsden indicates that this is where Obama failed. He overgeneralized Gifford's shooting, relating it to the loss of any loved one, robbing it of its personal significance and ability to call to action on the specific issue of gun control. Now that we have outlined the key tenets of Amsden's model, we can apply them to Two Women Travel. First, mythic democratic time exists in the larger mythology of Ireland. The Independent on September 24th, 2016 explains, that due to Ireland's history of Catholicism, their legal system has created some of the strictest abortion laws in the world. The women tweeted, "We make this journey in stern solidarity with all our Irish sisters who have gone before us." They call back to this mythic democratic time of women enduring suffering throughout their campaign, fulfilling the first tenet. Second, the era of partisan polarization. The avatar of the campaign reads, "Repeal the Eighth," referring directly to the constitutional amendment they are advocating to change. Furthermore, they refer to Ireland's Conservative Prime Minister, Enda Kenny, in almost every tweet. Tweets like, "Enda Kenny TD failed us," call back directly to the partisan politics of the present moment, fulfilling the second tenet. Third, generic domestic time allows the speaker's experiences to be viewed through the eyes of the average viewer. The tweets show a variety of mundane and normal tasks we can all relate to, like boarding an airplane or waiting in a doctor's waiting room. In one of their most compelling tweets, immediately after the procedure, they show the image of a blood-stained bed with the text, "Not the first or the last bleeding woman about to face a long trek home." By referencing uterine blood, they call back to an experience that most women face, which further allows outsiders to insert themselves into the situation, fulfilling the third tenet. Although this is the temporality that caused Obama's speech to fail, it did not do the same for Two Women Travel. They did not want to localize suffering, but rather generalize it, making their use of generic domestic a success. Now that we have applied Amazon's tenets to Two Women Travel, we can return to our research question. How can time be used as a rhetorical strategy to alter audiences' understanding of political issues? The use of live speech heightens rhetorical kairos, countering national mythology and fostering empathy for their struggle. This leads to two implications. First, Two Women Travel's use of generic domestic time allows for both specificity and generality. Obama's overgeneralization of generic domestic compared Gifford's shooting to any time we've lost someone, which robbed it of its specificity and political potency. In contrast, Two Women Travel used their story as an exemplar of the experiences that women throughout Ireland face, while still remaining specifically engaged with the abortion debate. This is aided by the point of view images they posted on Twitter. They are able to show images of doctors' offices and blood, framing their story as both specific and generic. This is reified by their decision not to show their faces. Their story is generic enough to foster empathy for their struggle, yet still exists within a context, which allows it to simultaneously call to action on the specific issue of abortion, and demonstrating both the limitations and potential of generic time. Second, Two Women Travel demonstrates the danger of believing in the mythology of mythic democratic time. The focus of the campaign is to repeal Article 8 of the Constitution, which would require not only a constitutional amendment, but also a removal of a large amount of the Catholic influence that has been woven into Ireland's identity. By doing so, they show that mythic democratic time is not free of the fault of the era of partisan polarization. Rhetorical phrases like, "Make America great again," seek to appeal to our sense of mythic democratic time and to take advantage of this optimism. Two Women Travel shows that mythic democratic time and the era of partisan polarization are not separate, questioning the underlying mythology of mythic democratic time and urging us to adopt a more nuanced political rhetoric. So today, we first outlined the key tenets of Amazon's model, then applied them to Two Women Travel before finally drawing some critical implications. Train rides in waiting rooms may seem mundane to the average follower, but these two women have shown that we can inspire both political protests and real societal change, 140 characters at a time.